Hello, you're watching the prime time on Hornbilltv. Let's have a look at the news headlines. US President Donald Trump on Wednesday issued an executive order to prevent transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports unless they were assigned female at birth. The New York Times has reported as such. National People's Party National President Conrad K. Sangma has appointed Shetrigao constituency legislator Sheikh Nurul Hassan as the leader of NPP Legislative Party, an official statement has informed. An angry mob vandalized the memorial and residence of Bangladesh's founding father Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, located at Dhanmondi 32 in Bangladesh on Wednesday night. The Mahakumbh Mela 2025 continues to draw millions of devotees from across India and abroad, with over 39 crore pilgrims having already taken the holy dip at the Triveni Sangam, the sacred confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna and the mystical Saraswati river. Let's have a look at the news in detail. Haryana Minister Anil Vij said on Thursday that US President Donald Trump did not make a mistake by deporting illegal immigrants from the country, as any country has its rights. He also stated that India should do the same with the crores of illegal immigrants. India should make a policy to send the illegal immigrants back to their respective countries, he added.
दिल्ली में चुनाव को लेकर एग्जिट पोल जो है वो कह रहे हैं कि भाजपा की जीत है जो वो निश्चित है।
मैंने पहले दिन भविष्यवाणी कर दी थी और बीच बीच में भी करता रहा हूं कि दिल्ली में भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीतेगी। और दिल्ली क्या, हरियाणा में जहां पर कोई भी एग्जिट पोल नहीं कह रहा था, कोई भी एजेंसी नहीं कह रही थी कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीतेगी, लेकिन अनिल विज कह रहा था भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीतेगी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीतेगी। तो दिल्ली में भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार बनाने जा रही है।
संजय राउत ने कहा है कि दिल्ली का चुनाव नहीं, पैसे का खेल है और बीजेपी पैसे का खेल खेल रही है।
अब रोने वाले तो रोते रहेंगे, जीतने वाले जीत गए।
पंजाब के एनआरआई मामले के मंत्री कुलदीप सिंह धालीवाल ने कहा है कि मोदी जी कहते हैं कि ट्रंप उनका दोस्त है और ट्रंप ने भारतीय युवाओं को वापस भेजा है। इस मामले में मोदी जी को बात करनी चाहिए।
देखिए, इलीगल तरीके से किसी भी देश में अगर कोई भी लोग गए हुए हैं, उस देश को उनको बाहर निकालने का पूरा हक है और ट्रंप ने कोई गलती नहीं की है। और मैं कहता हूं कि हमें उससे उदाहरण लेते हुए हमारे देश में भी लाखों करोड़ों लोग इलीगल घूम रहे हैं, उनके बारे में सोचना चाहिए। जमते कोई और है, रोटियां हम खिलाते हैं, क्यों? जिन्होंने जम्मे हैं जाए वहां पे। हमें भी कोई नीति बनानी चाहिए कि उनको उनके ही देशों में पहुंचाया जाना चाहिए।
आपने एक ट्वीट किया है जिसपे आपने निशाना साधा है, क्या कहेंगे सर?
मोदी जी पर जो मोदी जी कुंभ स्नान के लिए गए, काफी लोगों को तकलीफ हुई है कि मोदी जी को नहीं जाना चाहिए था। अब हिंदुस्तान में तो सारा साल ही कोई ना कोई चुनाव होता रहता है। इसका मतलब मोदी जी अपना कोई धार्मिक अनुष्ठान कर ही नहीं सकते। और मैं पूछना चाहता हूं राहुल गांधी से कि तुम्हारा चुनाव निशान हाथ है, क्या चुनाव वाले दिन तुम हाथ को घर रख के आते हो?
Polling for Delhi Assembly election that took place on Wednesday recorded an approximate voter turnout of 60.54% according to ECI's voter turnout application. Meanwhile, most of the exit polls predicted that the Bharatiya Janata Party is poised to form the next government in Delhi, with the Aam Aadmi Party falling behind and Congress likely to continue its dismal run in the assembly polls. Exit poll predictions varied on the margin of BJP's victory. One poll predicted the BJP could win 51 out of 60 seats out of the 70 assembly seats, while two polls forecast an Aam Aadmi Party victory. The exit polls were released after voting concluded on Wednesday. The polls saw intense competition and active participation of voters across all 70 constituencies. As per the ECI data, among the 11 districts, North-East recorded the highest voter turnout at 66.25%, while South-East had the lowest at 56.16%. Other districts' turnout percentages were Central District at 59.09%, East District with 62.37%, New Delhi District 57.13%, North District 59.55%, Northwest District 60.07%, Shadhara District 63.94%, South District at 58.16%, Southwest District 61.07% and West District 60.76%. The Election Commission is set to declare the final results on February 8. Earlier, Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh has claimed that 7 MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party who contested the assembly elections were contacted and were offered rupees 15 crores. He alleged that the BJP wants to win the election by breaking parties. Singh also claimed that the MLAs have been told to record such audio calls, and if anyone meets them, they should make a video of it with a hidden camera. BJP is losing the elections with a big margin, he said.
देखिए, हमारे 7 ऐसे विधायक जो आम आदमी पार्टी के सिंबल पे चुनाव लड़े, उनको संपर्क किया गया, 15-15 करोड़ रुपए का ऑफर दिया गया और ऑपरेशन लोटस चला के तोड़फोड़ करके दिल्ली में चुनाव का परिणाम आने से पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी ये खेल करना शुरू कर चुकी है। हमने अपने विधायकों को साफ तौर पे कहा है, जो भी ऐसी कॉल आए उसको रिकॉर्ड कीजिए, जो भी ऐसे लोग आपसे मिलने के लिए आए उनका वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग कीजिए हिडन कैमरा लगा के, और इसके पूरे साक्ष्य हम मीडिया के सामने, देश के सामने रखेंगे। दिक्कत क्या है कि बीजेपी ये सोचती है कि वो हर राज्य में इसी तरह का हथकंडा अपना के चुनाव जीते ना जीते सरकार बना लेगी। दिल्ली में ये सब होने वाला नहीं है, बुरी तरीके से बीजेपी हार रही है।
We'll be right back after a short break.
Sexually transmitted infections like syphilis and HIV can be transmitted from mother to child. Get tested within the first 3 months of pregnancy.
Welcome back after the break. Let's continue with the news. Social Welfare Department, Mendhar, on Thursday conducted a camp for persons with disabilities at Mendhar collaboration with Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. The camp featured the distribution of essential artificial appliances including wheelchairs, tricycles, hearing aids, artificial limbs, knee bends, etc., ensuring that eligible beneficiaries received critical assistance.
मेरा नाम मुज़म्मिल है। इल्म को आर्टिफिशियल लिम्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया ये हम हर साल लगाते हैं कैंप विद द सपोर्ट ऑफ सोशल वेलफेयर। तो ये हम इस पे दो कैंप होते हैं, एक असेसमेंट कैंप होता है और दूसरा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैंप जिसमें हम प्रोवाइड करते हैं। जो असेसमेंट में हम इनको नीड क्या होती है वो हम लिखते हैं, जिसमें हम मोस्टली दो स्कीमें होती है, एक एडिप स्कीम होता है, दूसरा एक RUI जो कि सीनियर सिटीजन के लिए होता है, जिनमें हम इनको असेसमेंट करते हैं। उसमें हम व्हीलचेयर देते हैं इनको, किसी को व्हीलचेयर की ज़रूरत होती है, हेयरिंग एड या विजुअल इम्पेयर्ड के लिए स्मार्टफोन, स्मार्ट केन या हेयरिंग एड हो गया। एक कमर का बेल्ट हमारे सीनियर सिटीजन के लिए, कमर का बेल्ट, घुटनों का बेल्ट होता है, ये सब प्रोवाइड करते हैं हम इन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैंप में। और इसके बावजूद हम प्रोवाइड करते हैं आर्टिफिशियल लिम्स, जिनको जो स्पेशल डिसेबल पीपल होते हैं, इनको हम जिनके पास टांगे नहीं होती हैं या बाजू कोई लिम कमज़ोर हो या मिसिंग हो, वो भी हम लगा देते हैं। उसके सपोर्ट भी देते हैं हम, जिनको हम आर्टिफिशियल लिम्स बोलते हैं या कैलिपर बोलते हैं, उनको हम वो देते हैं इस कैंप में।
हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो प्रोस्थेटिक एड की डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस के कैंप्स चल रहे हैं, कल मंडी में कैंप था, उससे पहले दिन हमारा पुंछ में कैंप था। आज यहाँ मेंढर सब डिवीज़न में तीनों ब्लॉक्स का कैंप हमने मेंढर में ही रखा हुआ है। ये इनकी जो असेसमेंट कैंप्स हुए थे 2 महीने पहले, उसमें जितने भी हमारे स्पेशली एबल्ड बेनिफिशरीज़ हैं उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया गया था, उनकी असेसमेंट की गई थी। तो आज उनके जो अप्लाइंसेस हैं वो हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं, जिसमें यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हैं व्हील चेयर्स हैं, हेयरिंग एड्स हैं, वॉकिंग स्टिक्स हैं, कुछ मोबाइल फ़ोन्स कुछ स्पेशली एबल्ड लोगों को दिए जा रहे हैं, और बाकी कुछ और अप्लाइंसेस भी हैं एज़ पर द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द बेनिफिशरीज़। ये कैंप हम हर साल सोशल वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट इन कोलैबोरेशन विद लिम्को ये वाले कैंप ऑर्गेनाइज करता है। इसका मकसद यही रहता है कि जो हमारे बेनिफिशरीज़ जो खुद एफर्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं इन चीज़ों को प्रोक्योर करने के लिए, तो हम फ्री ऑफ कास्ट उनको ये सामान डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं। आज यहाँ पे नियरली 172 बेनिफिशरीज़ हैं जिनको ये सामान डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया जाएगा। मैं फर्दर लोगों से ये अपील करता हूँ कि अगर कोई और बेनिफिशरीज लेफ़्ट आउट हैं जो अभी तक इन कैंप्स का या इन स्कीम्स का फ़ायदा नहीं ले सकते हैं, वो तहसील सोशल वेलफेयर ऑफिसर के ऑफिस में आके वहाँ पे खुद को एनरोल करवाएं और जल्दी ही हम उनको भी ये सामान मुहैया करें।
US President Donald Trump on Wednesday issued an executive order to prevent transgender athletes from participating in girls and women's sports unless they were assigned female at birth. The New York Times reported as such. He also vowed to withhold federal funding from high schools and colleges that fail to comply with the directive. From now on, women's sports will be only for women, Trump said in his address from the White House East Room. The war on women's sports is over. The White House, in an executive order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, stated that in recent years, many educational institutions and athletic associations have allowed men to compete in women's sports. It further said that ignoring fundamental biological truths between the two sexes deprives women and girls of meaningful access to educational facilities. This new order follows on one Trump signed on January 20, which ordered the federal government to define sex as only male and female, and to change federal policies and government-issued IDs to reflect that. Trump, along with other conservative politicians, have often hit on transgender athletes competing in women's sports as an election cycle issue, and 25 states have passed laws banning transgender athletes from girls' sports at the high school and youth levels. The New York Times reported that a few days back, the White House had issued an executive order prohibiting federal funding, support, or promotion of medical procedures intended to transition a child's sex, citing concerns over their long-term consequences. The order stated that medical professionals are engaging in chemical and surgical mutilation of children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. The administration described these procedures as dangerous and asserted that affected children may suffer from permanent sterilization and lifelong medical complications, the report added.
This is a really good signature. This is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
Stay tuned with us because it's now time for a short break.
HIV can infect anyone, including children. A woman with HIV can spread it to her baby during pregnancy, delivery, or breastfeeding.
क्या आप जानते हैं कि देश में हर दिन 6000 से भी अधिक लोग साइबर अपराधियों के हाथों करोड़ों रुपया गंवा रहे हैं। साइबर अपराधियों की चालों से बचना है अगर आपको, तो उनसे 2 कदम आगे रहना होगा। आज ही फॉलो कीजिए गृह मंत्रालय का ऑफिशियल सोशल मीडिया हैंडल साइबर दोस्त। फिर भी अगर आप शिकार बन जाएं तो बिना देर किए कॉल कीजिए 1930 पर या अपनी कंप्लेंट जो है उसे दर्ज करें यहाँ www.cybercrime.gov.in पर। ध्यान रहे, स्टॉप, think, and then take action.
Welcome back after the break. Let's continue with the news. National People's Party National President Conrad K. Sama has appointed Shetrigao constituency legislator Sheikh Nurul Hassan as leader of NPP Legislative Party, an official statement informed. Statement signed by Sangma informed that in view of the untimely demise of our MLA Kayesi, who was the leader of the Legislative Party, the party has now appointed Sheikh Nurul Hassan as leader of the Legislative Party. Sangma, in a separate statement, also informed that Y. Joy Kumar Singh has been appointed as the interim state president of NPP Manipur State. Meanwhile, Joy Kumar has further appointed Hassan as the working president of NPP Manipur until further orders. NPP, with 7 MLAs last year, had withdrawn its support to the Biren Singh-led government. Now with 7 MLA, Sheikh Nurul Hassan is likely to become leader of the opposition. Congress party has only 5 MLAs in 60 members Legislative Assembly. A US military aircraft carrying more than 100 Indian citizens alleged to have illegally migrated arrived in Amritsar on Wednesday. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor remarked that although the US holds the right to deport individuals illegally residing there, the manner of deportation was deemed unnecessary for non-criminals. Speaking to ANI, Tharoor emphasized that deportations should occur on commercial or civilian flights, criticizing the current approach under President Biden's administration, where over 1,100 Indians were deported in 2024. Despite understanding the legality, Tharoor condemned the use of military planes and handcuffs as quite unnecessary. Tharoor addressed long-standing calls for an updated immigration bill referencing outdated policies since 1983, stressing that deportation is only one aspect of broader immigration challenges. He highlighted the lack of progress on promised legislation and encouraged a more dignified treatment of deported individuals.
Well, look, it's not the first time we've had people deported. It's just that the media has suddenly woken up to the story because Mr. Trump has done it perhaps a bit quicker than people expected. But already last year, under the Biden administration, we had over 1,100 Indians being deported back. If you're illegally in the US has a right to deport you. And if your identity as an Indian is confirmed, then India has an obligation to accept you. So in both cases, there really isn't very much debate. However, it wasn't good to hear that they were brought back forcibly in a military plane and handcuffed and so on. That was quite unnecessary. It should have been enough to either put them on a commercial aircraft or a civilian plane and send them back. And you can, if you want to do a mass deportation, do civilian charters. That would have been the more humane thing to do. They may, strictly speaking, have broken your laws by coming into your country, but by and large, they have no bad intentions. They're not criminals. They're not convicted of anything else. They're there to make a better life for themselves, which they have done by violating your laws, so you can send them out, no problem. But handcuffing them and putting them in a military aircraft and sending them in this way, I think India should say that this is not entirely advisable. First of all, what goes on in the committee is not supposed to be discussed publicly, but I should say that the question of an immigration bill has been public knowledge for several years. When I chaired the committee from 2014 to 19, I had asked for an immigration bill because the existing immigration bill in India is 1983 and it's grossly out of date. It has not done anything to take into account the realities of immigration in the last 40 years. And therefore, an updated bill was necessary. It needs to take into account the various challenges that have arisen in recent years that we have seen. Deportations of illegal migrants is only one part of it, but safe and orderly and legal migration, migration of guest workers with a right to come back, migration of people for permanent settlement, migration of those going, for example, to countries like the Gulf where they're taken in bulk by contract laborers. What are their rights? What are the privileges? What are the duties of the embassies in all these places? There are a number of issues. It's not a small matter. And the government has been promising us a bill since 2016, 2015 or 16, when Sushma ji had written to me confirming that they were working on a bill. It is now almost 9 years and there is still no bill in sight, so it is widely known that the committee and members of the committee have been demanding that this be expedited. They have promised that within a fairly short period of time there will be a bill that will be presented for public consultations after interministerial consultation. And I have urged that we should all be taken into confidence on how this is being discussed. But it's not specifically linked to the current problem of deportation alone. It's an old issue. Well, people say they've seen pictures. I personally have not. I had a busy day yesterday. I didn't see any of the footage. But if it is true, and I've certainly read interviews with a couple of people who claim they were handcuffed, then it is really unacceptable. There is no need to treat Indians like this. They are citizens. They have a right to be living in their own country with dignity. Yes, they should not have broken the law. But handcuffing them on the way back, I think, is totally unnecessary. And this kind of thing, to be honest, is what gives, I think, the whole process of deportation such a bad name. Some Latin American countries are very, very clear they will not accept military aircraft and they will not accept handcuffing. And India should, I think, take a similar stand.
That is all we have for now. For more news and updates, keep watching Hornbill TV.